It's 10 o'clock on the East Coast. Good morning from Daytona International Speedway. It's time for Xfinity Series qualifying. Season opener happens later today here at Daytona International Speedway. Our coverage presented by Geico. Weather is perfect. 68 degrees right now, mostly sunny skies. And it will continue as the day goes on. With Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, I'm Adam Alexander. Stanton Barrett going to be the first car on track. 48 vehicles here to qualify for 40 spots today.
Yeah, there's a lot of anxious souls down in the garage area. Talked to a lot of guys this morning. They thought I'm saying, I think I'm right on the fence.
Yeah.
You know, 33 is the number. The guys that really don't have any points to fall back on have to be in the fastest 33. And with 48 pretty darn good cars here, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, I talked to Scott Lagasse Jr. and he said, we can win this race if I could just get in it. That's how tough qualifying is going to be because of the quality field that has shown up here at Daytona. And Adam, these drivers have to do their job in qualifying. They've got to get off pit road. They've got to get through the gears and be smooth on the track. So they're an important part of the puzzle. But the key is the car. The boys that built the car back at the shop and the way they've tuned on it and set the suspension here at Daytona, that's what's going to get you in the race, and that's what's going to get you the pole here today.
Here's the format for qualifying single car at a super speedway. You go in reverse order from the combined practices yesterday. So when we combined all the practice speeds, it was Stanton Barrett that was slowest. He goes out first. We work our way all the way up to the top spot. Fastest in practice one day ago was Ty Dillon. We're looking at two numbers, top 33, because the top 33 drivers on speed will lock themselves into today's race, and the top 12 because the top 12 in round one advanced to round two to run for the pole.
And just because he was the slowest in practice yesterday doesn't mean he's going to be the slowest in this qualifying session. He didn't draft, so he's working on those single car laps like we're seeing right now. He could squeeze into this field.
51:75 is the time put up by Stanton Barrett. We're off and rolling early here at Daytona. Stanton Barrett, the first car to record a time in Xfinity Series qualifying at Daytona. Car number 2, Harrison Rhodes. You see him rolling in here. He's currently top of the board, clocked in at 51.146 seconds. And here comes the 78 of B.J. McLeod.
We have pretty good conditions today to run fast here. With the wind was really brisk a couple days ago, not quite as bad yesterday, but a little calmer today. And when you have that real stiff headwind down the backstretch, that really slows these things down. But the wind is not that bad, so we should see some pretty fast speeds.
And you know, the thing about the wind is confusing. You go out and run a little bit slower one time after another, and you think, what happened? How did that time come up that bad? And you can be affected by the wind here.
B.J. McLeod now second. Let's hear from Jamie Little. Go to the garage and get our Geico pit report. Hey, Jamie.
Hey, Adam. Brandon Jones is one of the new faces you'll see full-time this year. And Brandon, your first time to Daytona. How do you approach it as a rookie?
Well, I think, you know, definitely a lot of patience. So you're going to have to see that during the entire race, and you're going to have to use your head and but be there at the end, you know, and use aggression when you have to put yourself in position about 5 to go to try to get one of these.
Good to see you. This guy has done a lot in his career already. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. And
I still can't get over, we had the graphic there, Jamie, age 19. He's not getting ready to turn 20. He just turned 19 years of age and getting ready to make his first ever start at the World Center of Racing later today. A rookie for Richard Childress Racing.
Yeah, and he's going to have to practice what he preaches this afternoon. He was really aggressive in practice yesterday, and that type of racing works well sometimes at the end, but it never works well early in the going. So we're going to see all kinds of different strategies today. That's what makes this race so fun to be a part of.
B.J. McLeod is now third. His teammate Chris Fontaine jumped in front of him. The time for Fontaine, 51.208 seconds. Let's say good morning to Chris Neville on pit road.
Good morning, Adam Alexander. You know, Daniel Suarez now in his sophomore season of racing in the Xfinity Series. And Daniel, you know, one thing we've got this year is the single lap qualifying. Trying to get off pit road, those upshifts, getting fast and perfect through the gears. How tough is that?
It is tough because, you know, you have to hit that mark perfect, because sometimes it's difficult to understand how important it is to open your lap if you hit your shifts right in the right RPM. Not every year is with the same RPM, so you have to be changing that first year, second year, and third year. So going to be interesting. Last July, when we came here to Daytona with the same format, we were able to come out with a pole. I feel like we have just as fast car as last year, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward.
All right, good luck this morning.
Coming off that Rookie of the Year campaign is Daniel Suarez, and turned more laps here in practice yesterday than any other driver. 38 combined in the 3 sessions. Here's a look at Jeremy Clements. His time gets him up to 3rd. In fact, an identical time to that of Chris Fontaine. How about that? 51.208 seconds for both of those drivers. 5 of 48 have taken time. It's qualifying from Daytona, presented by Geico. Here at Daytona, problems for Mike Harmon making his qualifying run. He was the 6th car to take time. Appeared that he had a tire issue that forced him to spin.
Yeah, very unusual, but nothing Mike could do about it. Watch as he goes down into the corner.
Looks like is it the left rear that's low there?
Looks like the left rear is low, and then the carcass actually comes off the rest of the tire.
Looks like he's going to be fine just down on the bottom of the track. And right there, if he cranks the wheels to the left, I think he misses the wall. But, you know.
Yeah, if he could have stayed ahead of it and as you mentioned, cranked to the left, he probably would have been all right. But he's probably going at this point 170, 75 miles an hour.
Right. And he has no idea what's getting ready to happen. So Mike was just a victim of circumstance there down into turn 1. Right about here, if he says, okay, now if I just crank this baby to the left real hard,
you can see the tire is still pointed to the right.
So Derek White was next in line. He was going to roll off the pit lane. And right here, they're trying to slow him down and didn't get him in time. And he has since pulled back around. And I would assume now they'll give him an opportunity to cool that thing down before he has to go out and make his qualifying.
Yeah, I would think so. And again, he should have just stopped right there. They had radio communication with him.
A stoppage in qualifying at Daytona. Mike Harmon had a problem over in turns 1 and 2. 5 cars into qualifying for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Daytona. Harrison Rhodes, Chris Fontaine, Jeremy Clements, B.J. McLeod, and Stanton Barrett. And let's see if we can figure out a little more on what might have been the problem for Mike Harmon.
Yeah, we're getting a report that maybe his left rear frame cap came out. You can see it spit out and look like maybe the NASCAR official hit it. So more than likely, that frame cap holds the lead or tungsten, whatever the ballast is, in that left frame rail, and more than likely a piece of that came out, and that's why he had a left rear tire down. He probably had a left rear tire down possibly before he even left pit road and didn't realize it until he got up to speed going in turn 3.
Chase Elliott already won pole for Speed Weeks. Tomorrow's Daytona 500, going for number 2 today, Jamie.
He has been an extra busy man all week long. How do you balance all that time and put the effort into each car that you need to?
Well, just, you know, Daytona is a little bit different like we were just talking about. So fortunate for us, both cars have been pretty good. We haven't made, you know, had to make a lot of changes. So that helps for sure. And obviously trying to focus our you know, main focus on the Cup side, which is the most important on these weekends that we're doing both. So just big thanks to Tax Slayer and everybody at JRM for letting me drive this weekend. I'm excited. I enjoy doing these races, so we'll try to have a good run this afternoon.
It's always good to see an Xfinity Series champion back in the field, Chris.
Yeah, and Ty Dillon was quickest in practice yesterday. And Ty, I know you guys were working a lot of single car runs. How do you feel about your chances about putting a 3-car on pole today?
I think we have a great opportunity. You never know what some of these guys are going to unload on you here at the last second. But our Bass Pro Chevy's been really fast. Single car runs is mostly what we did. We did one little draft run where we caught the back of the pack and ran a real fast lap. So seems like this baby wants to go fast. So hopefully we can keep her up front. So it's today during the race. It'd be nice to start off with the pole. The guys have really worked hard this whole off season on just getting as much speed out of our race cars for all year. And I'm excited for what we've got going on with our race team. And it'd be nice to start with this Bass Pro Chevy up front.
And Ty Dillon looking for his first pole at Daytona.
And Chris, you're exactly right. He was fastest yesterday in practice, but he was also really good in single car runs, which could pay dividends here today. Track activity has resumed after a brief red flag in qualifying. Derek Cope, the most recent to take time. He is second behind Harrison Rhodes, 51.196 seconds. And you said, Phil, you probably need to be down somewhere in the 50s if you're going to feel comfortable to be in the top 33 and make the show.
I think so. We did a little bit of unofficial stat looking into, and it looked to me like a 50.88 was about the 33rd fastest time in single car runs, but you can never simulate that. Jimmy and Joe and the guys put this together, and you know, you go out there, you think you're making a single car run, you only ran one lap, but you could have got some help. But I wouldn't feel real comfortable unless I was in the 50s, I think, especially early on in this session. How about you, Mikey?
Well, no one's gotten there yet, but I think it's all coming. The fast cars obviously lie ahead, but be interesting. Yesterday we did an informal poll about the truck qualifying. We were pretty much on target with that one, so I'll go along with you, Phil. About a 59 he makes it, maybe.
To the top for 64-year-old Mark Thompson. He's in the 50s, a 50.803. So the big headline from yesterday's 3 practice sessions happened early, about 10 minutes into practice 1. Darrell Wallace Jr., little contact with the 98 of Eric Almirola. Tried to save it, but it got into the wall. They had to pull out a backup. Had some transmission issues in final practice with that backup car. Hopefully they've got the bugs out, Jamie.
Man, it was an eventful day for you guys, and 3 practice sessions to boot. So you're in the backup car. You had some issues Adam just mentioned in final practice. Are you comfortable and confident you got them all worked out?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, we were talking about it this morning. It's safe to say that our backup car is faster than our primary car in single car runs because we never got a shot with the primary car. So we're good with it. We actually worked really hard the second and third round of practice and got a lot of speed out of our Selfio Mustang. So the Selfio people are here. We had dinner with them last night. They were all pumped up. They brushed the wreck off like it was nothing. So I'm like, all right, we're good to go for today. But glad to have them out here and have them on the car for a great race for us. Got a little bit of time for qualifying. The single car stuff, a little bit boring for us. Ready to go. You know, it's first race. We're here at Daytona. Want to get on track, but gotta get a game plan together here. We gotta have a smart race and a smart day. Start off the season strong.
What a turnaround it would be if he could sit on the pole today, Adam.
Absolutely. We'll see him later on, scheduled to go out 32nd. The 8th car to go on track was
Martin Waugh.
Martin Waugh, and he is second right now, 50.957. The second vehicle we've seen out in qualifying to get down south of the 51-second bracket, and now the Reynolds Wrap Chevrolet behind the wheel, Eric McClure.
So he's tracking first right now, a couple hundredths of a second. You look right side of your screen at the little dial there. That's the tachometer showing about 7,500 RPMs, 74, 7,500, 174 miles an hour, and 2/100ths of a second faster right now than the time posted by Mark Thompson at this point on the racetrack.
And McClure's just living off that tack right now, Phil. He's watching that thing for all it's worth, just hoping he can see 50, 100 more RPMs than he's seen in any other qualifying run that he's simulated qualifying run he's made this week, and hoping for that speed.
Down to the line, let's see what McClure does. To the top, as expected, 50.777. Maybe you should go to Vegas with that qualifying run.
And on our informal poll, his single car run yesterday, he ran a 50.75. So I think we're tracking pretty close.
And he is going to Vegas next week.
2 weeks anyway, right?
Yeah. Well, he's going to go there next week, I think.
Okay, good.
Especially after that qualifying run.
Why not? If he wins today, after that qualifying run, no question he should be going to Vegas.
I'll go with him, as a matter of fact.
Here's a look at Bobby Gerhart, looking to do the triple, a different kind of triple. Ran the ARCA race here last weekend, a series where he's won 8 times at Daytona. 12th last night in the Camping World Truck Series race, and trying to put himself into the big show for Xfinity today.
I talked to Bobby down in the garage area this morning. He thought around a 70 is about what he could run, and he's tracking just about there. He actually, if he can pick up maybe another half a tenth, he can get down in the 60s, and I think that'll be a pretty reasonable chance maybe of getting in the show.
Bobby is the guy you want behind your wheel in the ARCA race. He's won that race, what, 8 times?
Finished 12th last night in the truck race.
And then truck race last night, very competitive, and now to the top of the board in the Xfinity car.
50.69 for Gerhart.
That should put us in. Good job, guys. Fast time right now out of 11.
That's his brother Billy.
Phil, he said he thought he could run about a 70?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, he overachieved a little bit. He ran a 6.94.
It's about a 70.
If there's anybody that spends as much time as Bobby Gerhart here at Daytona Talladega, so he knew he could run about a 70 because he's got experience here, an incredible amount of experience at this racetrack.
Next up, Ross Chastain. He's from Florida, driving the Flex Seal Chevrolet for JD Motorsports. And we haven't talked about it yet today during qualifying. The biggest news in the offseason for the Xfinity Series, NASCAR announcing we're going to have a chase. 12 drivers, 7 races, couple of elimination rounds. That is huge for a team like this. And a driver to watch today, Ross Chastain, because he knows if he wins the season opener, and he could very well, he will be in the playoffs come September.
And don't worry, there will not be any Cup regulars in that chase for the Xfinity Championship.
3 starts here at Daytona for Chastain, 2 of them resulting in top 10 finishes. Tracking 5th right now on his qualifying run, and that's where he ends up, a 51.082. 11 cars have taken time at Daytona. Back live at Daytona, Derek White has now made his run in qualifying. He was the car that went out when Mike Harmon had his issue. NASCAR allowed him to come back down the pit lane, get the car cooled down. When he went out and made his run, it's 10th of the 12 cars that have been on track. 13 cars of record now, make it 14 as Morgan Shepherd becomes the quickest. 50.461. Great effort for the 89.
That's a pretty darn good lap, and that will definitely get him in the field.
That's awesome.
What's going on, Chris?
Well, Adam, we talk about new drivers in this series. We've also got new teams. Colleague Racing turned on the lights January 4th, a little over a month ago. And Blake, you were second quick in practice yesterday. After practice on the radio, you said, thank you, thank you, thank you. You a little blown away by the speed this new team has?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I do have to thank Matt Colleague for starting Colleague Racing. Last year, he was my sponsor. He owns Leaf Filter, and he wanted to start a race team, and he did it right. You know, we've had the resources to hire great people and align ourselves with RCR and ECR engines, and it's been a lot of fun. But I really have to thank everybody at Leaf Filter Gutter Protection for selling so much Leaf Filter to make this sponsorship possible. So it's been very fun, and it's really cool to see everybody's hard work that they did in the offseason. For us, I mean, we started the team 2 months ago, so they did a lot in 2 months to be able to be the second quickest car in practice yesterday.
Big smile on your face.
That affiliation with Richard Childress Racing should really help Blake Cook here today and throughout the season, Chris. Scott Lagasse Jr., the 15th car on track, 3rd on time, a 50.75. Not bad for the native of St. Augustine, Florida, who was 9th here last night. Let's go to Jamie.
And Matt Tifft is in the 24 today, but he will be sharing duties in the 18 for Joe Gibbs with Kyle Busch. You've been here in a truck before. What are some of the differences you're dealing with in a car?
Well, I think especially here at Daytona, it's just, you watched the truck race last night and you see the 2 lines. They move around so much more in the air. And, even just from Xfinity practice yesterday, you can see that these cars, they line up a whole lot better. But, you got so much more high caliber drivers here. So there's a lot more gamesmanship going on. It's just a whole nother level of restrictor plate racing. So just trying to learn as much as I can in our clinical RM Camry this weekend. And it's been a fun experience so far.
Kyle Busch discovered him. It's a guy to keep your eye on, Adam.
He's got a lot of talent and comes out of Ohio, and really in the opportunities he's had, both in the Camping World Truck Series and also here in the Xfinity Series. Been impressive top 10 run when he drove for Joe Gibbs last fall at Kentucky here in Xfinity competition.
Had a great run, ran up in the top 5, and could have had even a little bit better finish if the brakes would have went his way. But a lot of talent there, and I love the fact that he's a student at UNCC in Charlotte.
Sophomore there.
That's right.
Studying during the week. Said he front loads his classes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so he can travel to the track on the weekend. Mario Gosselin made his qualifying run. He also went into the 52nd bracket, a 50.857 seconds, as we take a look at Joey Gase.
I backloaded my classes and then skipped them.
Yeah. You and I were on the same page on that.
What about last night? We had a high school senior, William Byron, out there racing. I was thinking the parents at home wondering what their kids are doing on a Friday night. William was running 190 miles an hour in the draft, mixing it up with the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series regulars.
Had a shot at a great finish till that big wreck we had there right at the end.
It's just so fun to see the youth of our sport. want to commend NASCAR for letting these 16-year-old kids get in trucks and get on the NASCAR tracks that they've been playing on their computer, simulating driving them. They get on the track, they're ready to go, and by the time they're 18 and they can run everywhere on the schedule, they can win races. Well, they can even win at 16. Cole Custer proved that. The youth is alive and real here in NASCAR.
Joey Gase, the 17th driver on track, goes 51.785, and not what the group from Jimmy Means was looking for here in qualifying.
No, it sure wasn't. That's a little bit off, but that does bump or lock Morgan Shepherd and Bobby Gerhart into this field.
How about this? The 3 oldest drivers entered. You mentioned Morgan Shepherd, who's 74. Bobby Gerhart is 54. And then you've got Mark Thompson, who's 64. All of them inside the top 5 right now in qualifying. And as you said, 2 of the 3 locked into the show. Jeb Burton, big opportunity. Found out a couple of weeks ago that Richard Petty Motorsports going to stay in the Xfinity game. Had Dakota Armstrong driving that 43 last couple of years. It's the Jay Stryker Ford Cup last year with BK Racing for Jeb Burton. Couple of years in the Camping World Truck Series. Won at Texas a couple of years ago in truck competition, and loves coming to Daytona, where Father Ward won the Great American Race back in 2002.
He's going to go to the top of the board right here. He's going to be maybe down in the high 20s, if not low 30s. 32, a 50-32 for Jeb Burton.
A new man at the top in a Ford is Jeb Burton, and the guy who ended on top a year ago, Ryan Reed with Jamie.
What a race that was for Ryan Reed a year ago, but you just told me that you think this car is even better and maybe the best you've had down here. How are things going with your new crew chief?
Really well. Me and Phil, definitely, it was great to have all offseason to kind of bond and start building that chemistry. But yeah, we brought an awesome piece down here. Our Ford Mustang is really good. The guys did such a good job. You know, when we were working in the draft, I just couldn't believe how good it was driving, and then our single car speed was really good. So just a huge shout out to Lilly Diabetes and American Diabetes Association for getting us back out here again this year and being on board and being great partners, and just really, really excited about kicking off this year and kicking it off in Daytona. I'd love to be in victory lane again. It was definitely a highlight of my career, and ready to get some more wins on the win column.
Phil Gould is his crew chief, comes over from RCR. Going to be a good pairing, Adam.
Yeah, and Phil, I think, is a good matchup for Ryan Reed because of all the experience he brings. And I know that's something in our production meeting this morning. Kevin Harvick, who will be with us on the race broadcast later today, mentions that Phil will be a nice fit with Ryan.
Well, you need experience and the knowledge that Phil Gould has accomplished. The notebook he has will be beneficial to Ryan Reed. And Ryan was great at Daytona, mediocre most of the rest of the year. So that team is looking to really step it up, and they've made moves during the off seasons to do just that.
A rookie becomes our 19th driver on track. Ray Black Jr. puts it on the board in the 5th position, a 50.771. Gordon has made his run in qualifying here at Daytona. 50.348 seconds for the driver out of the TriStar Motorsports stables. And Mark Smith, he is second behind Jeb Burton. And the 01 of Ryan Preece has hit the track and completed his qualifying effort. Good enough for 6th for the kid out of Connecticut. 50.755 seconds for the guy that won the Whelen Modified Championship in 2013.
Yeah, amazing in the modifieds. And really from the time he was a teenager, he was really good in those modifieds.
And last night won the Richie Evans Memorial 100. I took the words out of your mouth, didn't I, Michael?
Yes.
That's what happens when I look at my notes and I don't look at you. Next up, Joe Nemechek, only driver in the field that has multiple wins in the Xfinity Series at Daytona. 2 times he's gone to victory lane here.
This is a talented racer. Joe Nemechek not only knows how to wheel a car, as evident by the wins here at Daytona, but building a team for his son. He's always been hands-on on building race cars, and he's all into NASCAR. And you got to really appreciate the example he set for his son to follow over the years. John Hunter's going to be racing for a championship this year, and that's good to see.
Joe, one of the more dedicated guys you'll see in the garage area. Good time here. Puts him 5th on the board, Chris.
And Bobby Labonte driving the 18 car this weekend. And Bobby, hard to believe, 25 years Joe Gibbs racing. When you look back on all those years, is it kind of amazing to see it's gone by so quick?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping they did the math wrong. I was hoping they were off a few years, but obviously it's really awesome to be a part of it, I think I was like employee number 18. So I don't know. I think like 955 now, but it's awesome to be back here at Joe Gibbs Racing for the 25th anniversary and hopefully run a race or two. And we got NOS Energy on our Toyota Camry this weekend, so excited about that. And hopefully we'll be able to be up front all day.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully we see you at Talladega.
I watched that number 18 car practicing yesterday. It was 3 wide. It was bump drafting. I thought, who's driving that car? That's Bobby Labonte. Bobby he's inspired by this opportunity to drive for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's going to be tough today. That's awesome to see.
I talked to Bobby last night, and he said he was just having a blast. And I just loved. We had a shot during practice of Coach leaning in the window with Bobby, and just a big smile on his face. And I know Bobby had one as well.
Joe Gibbs Racing, a pretty good place to be right now. Strong in both the Sprint Cup Series and right here in Xfinity. Anthony Kumpen is on the board. He's 6th with a 50.747. Halfway through the opening round of qualifying for the Xfinity Series at Daytona. New man on top, Brennan Poole in the DC Solar Chevrolet out of the Chip Ganassi Racing Stables. Going to run full-time this year. Nearly got it down in the 49-second bracket. A 50.091 second run for the kid out of the Woodlands, Texas. Full-time for him this year.
Yeah, good news for him.
And they're going to run 2 full-time cars. Kyle Larson in the 42 here today. But they're going to announce soon the plans to put a young kid in there that will partner in the 42 with Kyle Larson. At least that's what I was told in the garage. So that'll be 2 really good cars to have week in, week out.
Who is he? Who is he?
Well, I haven't heard. I don't know really. Do you know?
No.
Maybe Jamie knows.
I know Jamie knows. She knows. She's got that pit road covered.
Everything.
We're covering it down here, Michael. Eric Jones joining me now. He's a perfect example of these feeder series work. Won the Truck Series championship last year. Now you've bumped up to full-time. How do you approach this season now, knowing you're no longer just a part-timer here?
Hopefully not a whole lot different. I think we got a pretty good program, and fortunately it's kind of the same group of guys that I got to work with last year, and it's nice to have everything kind of come together for a full-time season and have Reese's Main Street Bistro on here for Daytona, and we're just ready to get it kicked off. I think we're all kind of chomping at the bit now to get going, and especially with the chase format, I don't think our approach really changes at all. You know, we'll definitely have to just try to win races at this point, make it to the chase, and once we get there, we'll kind of see how everything shakes out.
I think it's safe to say he's one of the favorites to win the whole thing, Adam.
No doubt about it. We didn't pay off Chris Cockrum, who went out in the 25. He's currently 15th. He was below 51 seconds. And here's Daniel Suarez.
How about that lap?
49.606. And unofficially, we had him top 5 yesterday in practice of those guys that made single car runs. And his time yesterday in practice was a 59.64. So today doing just a tick better than that.
Yeah, he had the pole here last July. He ran a 49.92. Again, now the top 12 are going to move on to round number 2. And guys, I really expect them to go a little bit faster in round 2 because their hubs are going to be warm, the gear, the transmission is going to be warm. So look for that speed to come down. And again, we saw Ty Dillon ran in the 40s, running the 40s yesterday, 49.40s. And we know if Ty did it, we know there's a lot of speed in this 33 car for Brandon Jones.
You saw Suarez, who was the Rookie of the Year 1 season ago. Brandon Jones, a candidate for that title in 2016. Driving for Richard Childress Racing. Had some impressive runs in a few starts for RCR a year ago. Also did a nice job when running in the Camping World Truck Series. Saw him running in the ARCA Racing Series as well. The ATX program for him last season, but full-time in excess in 2016.
It used to be ABC.
Right, yeah. ARCA Busch Cup.
Yes, yes.
Second fastest for Brandon Jones. This is a car that was really fast in the draft, too, so I know that young man is ready to roll this afternoon. He's going to start a pretty good spot, I think, Phil. That's a great time still.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
How do you harness excitement? If you're 19, you're at Daytona for the first time, you're in good equipment.
Somebody's got to talk to you. Someone has to explain to you, listen, the first 75 laps, we just need to learn. We can't jeopardize our car during those laps. Pin it on the bottom. Hold your line for a while. Make sure you understand what that feels like. Talk to Johnny Sauter in Victory Lane last night, an experienced veteran. He wins the race. He said, Mike, my truck was so loose on the bottom of the racetrack, I could barely hang on to it. Evident by him almost spinning out off of turn 4. That's what these guys are going to be faced with. The temperatures are hotter than it's been while they've been on the track. The draft is going to be tighter. Everything is magnified today. Getting to pit road in the pack That's always a problem. We've got to cover all those bases. We got to set Brandon down and explain to him everything he's going to see so nothing surprises him.
Last night in the truck race, we knew people were going to come to pit road, and we still wrecked getting to pit road.
And we also knew that that was probably going to happen.
And we predicted it was going to happen before it happened.
This could be a great story in 2016, watching Elliott Sadler with his new team and that great one main sponsorship on the side of that one car. Looking forward to watching.
Last time Elliott Sadler got to victory lane, Talladega, spring of 2014. His qualifying run good enough for third, 50.050 seconds. Kevin Mindering going to be the crew chief for him this season. Came down from Hendrick Motorsports, where he served as the engineer for Dale Earnhardt Jr. last season.
Well, just think about Dave Ellens. He went down to Junior Motorsports, crew chief of championship, and now he's back at the Cup side, or up at the Cup side. This is a training ground not only for drivers, but engineers, crew members, crew chiefs. It's all getting done here in the Xfinity Series. This feeder system, as you talked about, Adam, from the K&N Series up to the trucks, into the Xfinity, and then eventually into the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, that's really working well.
We see that a lot with Hendrick Motorsports and Junior Motorsports. They go back and forth. They may be an engineer in the Cup level, come down, be a crew chief for a while in the Xfinity level, and then back up to a crew chief. And Joe Gibbs, I think right now, we talked about it yesterday, every one of the Cup crew chiefs for Joe Gibbs Racing spent time in the Xfinity Series with Joe Gibbs.
Team Penske, Paul Wolf.
Yes.
And Gordon, both of those guys were in the Xfinity Series and then moved up to the Sprint Cup level, and obviously both have had great success. Here's Chase Elliott. Greg Ives, his crew chief when he won the championship, is now a crew chief for Dale Jr. at the Sprint Cup level. The 88 goes fifth on the board as we hear from Jamie once again.
Well, Adam, there's a lot of rookies in the field and a lot of faces in new places, but this veteran driver, Joey Logano, knows a thing or two about it. What are some of the things you have to take into consideration when you don't know all the guys you're racing with, especially at Daytona?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, we were talking about it last night, but you know, you don't know who you're racing out there, and it's kind of you know, a lot of times when you go speedway racing, you kind of know what everyone's doing and you know their moves are going to make, so you can kind of play off of that. But there's a lot of rookies out here that haven't raced speedways before, or you haven't raced around a lot to really know what they're going to do. So it's definitely going to be a little bit of a learning curve for myself to kind of see how they're like and who you want to, you know, be close around when it comes to the end of the race. That's the most important part, is being surrounded by some fast cars at the end that you can you know, put yourself in a great position to win with our discount tire Ford.
It's always good to see the defending Daytona 500 champion in the field.
Yeah, Logano really has flexed his muscles when it comes to these draft races recently. Won last year here at Daytona, as Jamie pointed out, won the fall race at Talladega, won the Xfinity race last spring at Talladega as well.
And this week, he's been particularly impressive in that Cup car, charging from the back of the pack to the front. He did it in the Unlimited, and he did it in his qualifying race. We've seen these races so far this week, one from the front. You get out front and you block, and not very many people have made big moves toward the front. Joey Logano's the guy that's been able to do that. It's going to be interesting to watch him today and see how he's able to race this race. And then, of course, the big one tomorrow that he's the defending champion of.
Would you believe Roger Penske has never had a driver go to victory lane here in the Xfinity Series? Joey Logano hopes to change that today and deliver a great birthday gift for the captain, who turned 79 today. Happy birthday to Roger. Saw Ryan Sieg on track while we were having that conversation. Both he and his teammate Scott Lagasse Jr. locked in the field. Sieg went to 8th as we look at Jeff Green, former Xfinity Series champion, driving the 17 here today.
Out of Owensboro, Kentucky. The first race I ever ran on a go-kart when I was about 15 years old in Indiana. Jeff Green was my crew chief. I ran a few laps. I said, it's stumbling off the corner. He got in there and adjusted on my go-kart, and I went out and won. We've been buddies forever, and he's an Xfinity champion. He's a great racer, and it's good to see this car he's in this weekend. It's really fast. Jeff's had a good day.
Drove for you at one time, too, didn't he?
Yes, he did. We finished third at Bristol, and we pulled in there with our car on an open trailer. And everybody around us had these big semis, and we finished third, and we celebrated on the back of that trailer because we were so happy with how we did.
Where was it in Indiana?
Albany, Illinois, actually.
Albany, Illinois. Okay,
right across the street, or right across the border from Indiana.
They're in the tri-state area where you and I spent a lot of time.
Yeah, we grew up there. So proud of that time in my life and happy about Owensboro. Got my racing start there.
Here's a guy to watch, Darrell Wallace Jr. And as we follow his progress, we hear from Jamie.
And Austin Dillon won the pole for this race last year. We were talking last night, and you said you didn't show all your cards in practice. Do you think you have what it takes to get the pole here for a second time?
Yeah, we're going to have a shot at this Ram Chevy. I think, obviously, my brother's going to be the one to beat here, I feel like. So that's good. Hopefully we can start 1 and 2. That'd be awesome. And a lot of work been going on in off-season for RCR. And just excited to see what's to come. We didn't ever tape up yesterday, so we'll see what kind of lap we can run.
It's good to see that iconic RCR number 2 back in the field, Adam.
And I said there is a chance that we could see all Dillons on the front row today. We'll see if that pans out. Both Austin and Ty were quick yesterday. Good run for Darrell Wallace Jr. Backup car nearly got down in the 49-second bracket, a 50.072 seconds for the driver from the Roush Fenway organization as we watch Eric Almirola in the 98.
Last night we saw an all GMS Racing front row, and one of those 2 trucks went on to win the race. So you start up front at Daytona, you got a really serious chance to go to victory lane.
What an amazing job Johnny Sauter did that entire race. You talked about it a few minutes ago. He was sideways leading the race, got turned sideways coming down through the tri-oval there, saved that truck.
I've never seen a more thankful and appreciative driver in victory lane. Went to see him after the race last night. He was just so happy to be there and surrounded by his new team. They picked him. He said they wanted me to drive this truck. They thought I could win the championship for him. I think it has really changed Johnny's attitude toward this whole sport. Where he's at right now is the best place he's ever been.
How about the first time Chevrolet's ever won a truck race here at Daytona?
That's an unbelievable stat right there. Ford went to victory lane here last year, and Eric Almirola is trying to do it again today. AGL teammates have made their run. Matt Tift is 9th, Dakota Armstrong 7th, John West Townley now in the 6th position.
Green flag. Check this out. We always talk about how important it is cranking your engine, getting run off pit road. Listen. Hear him hit the rev limiter there from the first to second shift. Solid second to third.
So much more important now with only 1 lap of qualifying, right?
When's he going to pull it back? Wow, well onto the back straightaway. Had a really long 3rd gear in it.
See, you're pushing air. You know, it's when you go to 1-2 shift to 2-3 shift, you're not pushing as much air. Now you're up to 150 or 60 miles an hour, so you've got air against you.
Justin Allgaier came along at 50.18, slots a 7 car into the 7th position. That's just part of the game. We talked about the things the driver has to do. He's got to be clean off pit road. He's got to hit those shifts where the engineers and the engine builders tell him to. And then you just dive to the bottom and try to hold the smoothest wheel you possibly can.
Balance of a good qualifying lap. Driver, car. What's that weight out to be?
Well, it's 90%
90% car.
90%.
But the car can't do its job if the driver doesn't hit that 10%. Now, this afternoon when we throw the green on these crazy people, it's going to be the other way, 90-10.
and a driver really can't help you that much here in qualifying, but he can hurt you a little bit.
I was going to say he can screw it up, right?
Yeah. And that's just a great thing for a driver to think, you know.
Well, since I'm up here with a couple of drivers,
I'm not going to help anything.
I'm not going to get any credit, but I sure could.
It's kind of like being the play-by-play guy with you two. Really, all I can do is screw this up.
Yeah. And that's why when these guys jump out of the cars that run fast, they give all the credit to their crew because the crew deserves it.
5 years ago, they told him he'd never race again, diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Ryan Reed came back to win last year at Daytona, and his qualifying lap here is solid. Top 5, 50.084 seconds. Jamie?
And Jeb Burton, 12th right now, driving for Richard Petty Motorsports, the deal that just came together about 10 days ago. So, Jeb, what's your realistic expectations for this race and moving forward?
Well, I don't think we're going to make the top 12. This car had dust on it a couple of days ago, so the guys really have been working really hard to get here. So we're not really worried about qualifying. Our car drafted really good yesterday for a little bit of drafting we did do, so we're not really worried about it. Today we just need to keep clean and gain some points, and if we can be there with 5 laps to go, we'll have a really good day and a shot at the win. That's what we need to do, and just building for the future. And every week we just need to finish races and take care of our equipment, and so we can get better race cars and better bodies on our cars and be in the hunt for that chase.
He's in that petty number 43. People love that.
Yeah, and he said it likely not going to advance to round 2. Jeb Burton on the bubble right now. 10 cars to go in our opening round. First of those, David Starr, Zachary Toyota Camry. Across the line, 14th, 50-38. First full year in the Xfinity Series, coming last season driving for Mark Smith.
I think he finished 6th right here, didn't he?
Yeah, good run for them.
We speculated early on what it would take to make this field the top 33 on speed, and we were talking about maybe the high 50s. Right now, Eric McClure in 24th is locked in the field. If every car from here on out beats him, he will be 33rd, and he ran a 50-77.
A 50-7-7-7.
7-7-7.
I mean, he rolled all sevens.
7's wild.
That's right.
7's wild.
We took all the information we had, be it unofficial, and made a good guess, huh?
Yeah, we did.
Here's a look at Eric Jones. He was top 5 or 7 yesterday of those drivers that made a run in the single car format and holding true to form as you would expect him to, driving for Joe Gibbs, tracking 2nd as he comes off a turn 4 to complete his run. Be very surprised if he's not one of the 12 running for the pole. We'll start locking some of those guys in here as we wrap up this opening round of qualifying. Good run for Jones, 2nd. 3rd driver to go below 50 seconds, 49.633 for the 19-year-old out of Michigan.
Yeah, that will lock him into the 2nd round. Right now, the top 4 are locked into the 2nd round. Suarez, Eric Jones, Brandon Jones, and Elliott Sadler.
8 to go here in round 1. First of that group, Brendan Gaughan, who did not, if memory serves me correct, did not go out and practice 2 or 3 yesterday. Said it's good, put a cover over it, we're ready to go.
He ran 12, 13 laps total all day long.
That's confidence, Michael. That feels good as a driver, doesn't it?
It does, and he's got all the reasons in the world to be confident. He knows how to win here at Daytona. He knows what it's going to take this afternoon to drive that car to victory lane.
He told us on NASCAR Race Up in the offseason that he's always been a guy that likes to go to the shop, take the crew to lunch. He's got a family now. He said the crew told him, you don't need to be here. Go enjoy your life. He said he's been doing a lot more of that.
He spent several days down here at the theme parks.
He's going to leave here, go to Atlanta, and then head home.
Yeah.
That's got to feel good.
I'd like to ride a roller coaster with him, actually.
He's locked in, boys.
Yeah, good lap. 4th quickest for Brendan.
Going to battle for that pole here in a little while.
I mentioned that Brendan joined us in the offseason on NASCAR Race Hub. How about this? Monday, we've got the Daytona 500 winner on the hub. A.J. Allmendinger, Larry McReynolds are going to be there. Then Tuesday, Jeff Gordon, Joey Logano are going to be on the show. Fun week for us on NASCAR Race Hub.
Now, if Joey wins, you're going to have him both days?
Now, I don't know how that will work.
Okay, just checking.
We can only hope.
Yeah.
Y'all do a great job on the hub. I love all the information. It's so well put together. And
we had Joey on last year after he won Watkins Glen, a couple days after. That's how the schedule worked out. And our producer, John Morris, gave him some asphalt from the parking lot because he tore up the track because they're repaving. He gave it to Larry McReynolds. Larry thought it was from the track, later found out it was from the parking lot. It didn't go over really good for him. Here's Kyle Larson. Won the last time the Xfinity Series competed. Season finale, Homestead Miami Speedway, and that Ineos Chevrolet.
I wonder what he thinks when he comes across that start-finish line, remembering back a couple of years ago when it ended so terribly for Kyle Larson.
I think when he exits the tri-oval, he feels a lot better about it.
11th for Larson on his lap. So right side of your screen, Bobby Labonte going green. Left side, Joey Logano getting ready to go.
Let's check out Logano. We heard just a bit of a stumble when Ryan Reed left pit road. Let's see what Logano was able to do with his vast experience.
No stumble there.
That was absolutely perfect. How's that horsepower sound, Phil?
He didn't go to the rev limiter either. Shifted a little bit earlier than Ryan Reed.
Yeah, he was off. He was still in turn 2, and Ryan was halfway down the back straightaway. That's interesting. Bobby Labonte doing his job, keeping his car right on the bottom of the track. Joey Logano, great job getting off pit road. These are guys that you expect to be battling for the pole. Labonte locks himself in. He's up to 3rd spot.
How about Gibbs' cars right now? 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at Logano's eyes. He's just focused on.
Look at his hands. Very little movement on that steering wheel. Just sticks it close to the double yellow line.
You want to be near that yellow line. You can see Joey's got about a foot between his left front tire and that yellow line. You get all the way next to it. The track's a little bit rough down there, and you don't want to bump that nose onto the ground. That scrubs off speed. That was a perfect job, as you would expect.
If he can remain here, that will lock him into the 2nd round.
And knock Kyle Larson out. Larson on the bubble right now in 12th.
I love that music.
I do too. I was going to say it makes me want to be out there, but I forgot I'm going to be. Tomorrow I'll get to hear all that.
5 cars left in the opening round of qualifying. Joey Logano will be one of those that advances. 6th for him on his run in the first round, 50.035 seconds. Next up, Casey Kane won this race summer 2014.
Well, what a strong field of cars for today's race. And remember, if we can have a regular win this thing, that's going to lock somebody in the chase already.
We saw that last night in the truck race. Johnny Sauter put himself in the battle for the championship.
And we knew he would anyway, but he got it over with quick.
4 cars. Go ahead, Michael.
How does that change your strategy? Say one of these Xfinity regulars wins this race this afternoon. Now, what do you start thinking? How do you start racing for a championship already?
Just start going for more wins.
That's right.
Casey, the 4th car out from Junior Motorsports. Chase Elliott made his run earlier. He's currently 15th. Justin Allgaier on the bubble as far as advancing is 12th. Elliott Sadler is 7th. And Casey Kane, he goes to the 12th position. Here's Austin Dillon, and maybe a little bit of trouble when he left pit road a moment ago.
There's a, oh yeah, the stumbles a bit there, right?
We know he's a great qualifier. What, 6 poles last year to
one of them in this race
to lead the league?
I want to go back and talk a little more about what you said a moment ago. Top 3, all from Joe Gibbs Racing. They have got their program top to bottom right in line.
What about the speeds of those 3 cars too, separated by just a 1/2 of a second? Can you imagine all the people that have their hands on those cars and everything that goes into bringing them here and then tuning them on the racetrack, and they all run that close to each other?
How much more comfort for drivers, and obviously we have another round of qualifying to go for those guys up front, but how much more comfort for drivers when you know you've got your teammates around you at a place like Daytona?
It's got to be the best feeling in the world. You just want to be surrounded by guys you can trust, the guys that you know what's going to happen. You look in the mirror and it's time to make a pit stop. You got Bobby Labonte behind you. You know he's not going to run you over. You need that kind of comfort, especially in a 300-mile race. You've got to build confidence throughout the day so you're ready to battle at the end.
For 2 young guys like Eric Jones and Daniel Suarez, I mean, having Bobby Labonte out there with you has to be so comforting.
2 cars to go in this first round of qualifying. Blake Cook and Ty Dillon. John West Townley on the bubble. He's 12th right now as far as those cars that could advance and run for the pole. The top 10 all locked in. They will definitely move on. Talked about the trio from Joe Gibbs Racing at the top. Suarez, Eric Jones, Bobby Labonte. Then you've got Brandon Jones and Austin Dillon, the teammates from Richard Childress Racing. Another RCR car right behind them, and Brendan Gaughan, Logano, Sadler, Bubba Wallace, and Ryan Reed, the top 10. as Blake Cook makes his run, currently tracking inside that top 10 at 8. They had a fast car yesterday. This is impressive, and we remind you once again, just talked about the success of RCR so far. They have an alliance with Richard Childress Racing. Not surprising to see this speed out of the 11. A brand new team, Colleague Racing, for 2016.
And they have done their homework and their job. That's awesome to qualify in with a new team. Second fastest in practice. Now he's going to be in that 12-car battle for the pole.
That knocks out John West Townley. Brennan Poole is on the pole, and I would be shocked if Ty Dillon, I said Brandon Poole is on the pole. Brandon Poole is on the bubble as far as advancing, and I wouldn't be surprised if this guy is a candidate for the pole. That would be Ty Dillon, who was fast in 2 of our 3 sessions yesterday, and the quickest of those that made a single car run.
And we get a great indication as soon as they cross the start-finish line. We compare him against the fast time. Look at already tracking 6/100ths of a second faster than Suarez.
You know, we talked about his brother Austin stumbling off pit road. Chase Elliott said he had issues running off pit road in the first round of Sprint Cup qualifying last Sunday. He was able to adjust his mentality, do a better job leading, gets the pole. That's something that Austin Dillon can think up too. He says, okay, the car didn't leave like I hoped it would. I'm going to have to adjust my RPMs and get off better, and maybe he can run a lap somewhat like his brother's put down here.
No longer Joe Gibbs 1, 2, 3, because Ty Dillon, just like he did in practice yesterday, goes to the top of the scoring pylon. 49.506 seconds, a 10th quicker than anybody who ran here in the opening round. It's race day in Daytona. The future stars of NASCAR on track in the season opener for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Our coverage begins 3 p.m. Eastern time here on FS1. We're streaming live at Fox Sports Go. Michael and I looking forward to calling this race later on with 2014 Sprint Cup champ and 07 Daytona 500 winner Kevin Harvick. And now a look at our top 12. The drivers you see on your screen right now advancing to round 2. They will run for the pole.
Yeah, how about that 3-car with a 10th in the bank right now over those very, very potent Gibbs cars?
Here's the lineup from 13th on back. Brennan Poole, the first driver on the outside looking in, but a good qualifying effort for him.
Ryan Sieg, strong as usual in these super speedways. He'll have a chance to charge to the front.
Top 33 cars got in on speed. Eric McClure would have been the last of those.
Then we'll have 7 provisionals. Actually 6 provisionals plus 1 past champion to round out this field.
Didn't see Mike Harmon there. There were 48 cars that went out. He cut a tire and did not officially record a time. What's going on, Jamie?
Justin Allgaier, good to see him back here full-time in the Xfinity Series, driving for Junior Motorsports. Yesterday in practice, you said you didn't expect great speed on single car, but you were more optimistic about the draft. What do you expect for the race today?
I'm really the same way. Our brand fresh agriculture Chevy actually ran faster in qualifying than we kind of thought it was going to, so that's a plus. But these guys brought a great race car for today's race. It drafted well in practice, and really the things that you want to see when you're out there practicing in the big groups, we had kind of all the markers, if you will. So really proud of these guys. I mean, obviously qualifying here is a true testament to how much hard work goes into the offseason. So proud of what they accomplished and looking forward to the race. It's going to be a lot of fun today.
All right, Justin Allgaier will start 16th. Chris?
Yeah, and Bubba Wallace advancing to that second round. And Bubba, we talked to you earlier about that transmission. You thought it was going to be okay for qualifying, but you said that shift from second to third still a bit sticky. Is that slowing you down?
That's a little bit of time there. You know, I was telling you, you have to be on it with only 1 lap. You can't have any mistakes. You can't spin the tires. You got to get through the gearbox fine. You got to hit your shift points right. So that's given us a little bit of slack, but man, we're just pumped to be in the second round. This is a lot of work yesterday through both practices and a little bit after the garage, or after practice was over with. We were still working on this Selfio Mustang to get some more speed out of it. We knew what we needed to do, and it paid off for us. You know, I just can't be more proud of my team this year, and we've worked so hard in the offseason. You know, having Selfio here, got him in the second round. I got to pull my inner Chase Elliott and get that pole.
Good luck, man.
Thanks.
Seth Barber came over to work with Bubba late last year as crew chief. Seth atop the pit box 1 season ago when Ryan Reed won here at Daytona. Round 2 qualifying on the way. Our coverage presented by Geico. Hours, there will be a major buzz in the air at the World Center of Racing, noon Eastern time. Our coverage for the Daytona 500 begins on your local Fox affiliate. Streaming it live at Fox Sports Go. Jeff Gordon, I'm going to be in the booth calling the action with Mike Joy and Darrell Waltrip. Chase Elliott on the pole. Should be a fun afternoon here at Daytona International Speedway. And we're looking forward to this afternoon season opener for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Good to have you with us with Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons. I'm Adam Alexander. We learned a lot in round one of qualifying. RCR, Joe Gibbs Racing, very fast.
Yeah,
Phil.
they really are. We saw several ECR engines, not only in the RCR cars, but their engines in good fast cars as well.
Yeah, and just think a year ago, those two organizations won 16 of the 33 races. So not a big surprise you come here and see those cars up at the top of the chart, but can they hang on? Can they have that kind of success again in 2016? I can't wait to see this race develop this afternoon. We're going to be 3 wide. We're probably going to border on 4 wide, and there's going to be intense action from the time they say go.
I love this race ever since they started. I ran this race in 1982, the first one they had here.
Ty Dillon had a 10th on him in round one. You going to win the pole? Is it a done deal? You guys betting on him?
I would say he's
yes.
going to win the pole. It'll be interesting to see how much his brother picks up after a little bit of stumble off pit road. We make a lot about how these guys leave pit road, how they launch. We'll see if he launches better this time. Chase Elliott was able to do it in the Cup Series and got the pole. See what Austin does.
I wonder how confident Ty is. Let's hear from him now and send it down to Jamie.
I think he's pretty confident at this point. And yesterday we had 3 practice sessions. You guys put a lot of emphasis on your qualifying. We don't see that by a lot of teams at Daytona. Why that approach?
Well, honestly, the Bass Pro team, we really put emphasis on it a couple months ago, and they've really worked hard back at the shop, and we want to come out of the gate strong and start on the pole, and it's one of the only things you can really control here other than, you know, spotter and driver working well in the race. But we want to start out of the year strong out of the gate, and we've done so far. I expect everybody to get a little bit faster, so hopefully we do too, and it'd be great to start on the pole for this race and have Bass Pro number 3 up front.
All right, he'll have one more go at it, and it would be his first pole if it happens, Chris.
Yeah, Brendan going 7th quick in that first round. Your teammate up there in the top spot. Any chance you're going to knock him down in round 2 here?
Well, what I like right now is I see ECR and RCR sitting 50% of the top 8. You know, got Blake Cook in 8th and all of us right there in the line. So pretty happy with the start to the season. You know, second round, you're not probably going to see much of a speed difference between all the teams. We're all pretty equal at this point. So hopefully we can keep an ECR motor up top. But right now, good start for both RCR and ECR.
All right, thanks, Brendan.
Chris, this weekend is all about Daytona. Next week, we head to Atlanta. New low downforce package for Sprint Cup teams. Doubleheader Saturday for truck and Xfinity teams. We got that perfect weather guarantee. We thank Ed Clark for that. If you want ticket information, by the way, they're starting at $39. Go to AtlantaMotorspeedway.com. We hope you will join us there.
It's a great weekend of racing. We got a doubleheader on Saturday, like we talked about, and the action at Atlanta is as good as it gets. There's been wrecks and 2 wide, 3 wide finishes in the truck series. We're going to have a little bit of everything.
And the weather is going to be good.
I've got some advice. Save your tires next week at Atlanta. Round 2 of qualifying after the break. Fox Sports is giving fans the chance to win the same prize as the driver who wins the 2016 Daytona 500, $1.5 million. All you have to do is pick the top 10 finishers of the race in order. That's all you have to do. FoxSports.com/Daytona Pick 10 is the place to go. You can enter, but you must do so by tomorrow.
Okay, Dale Jr. first.
Yeah.
Who are we going to go for second?
While you guys talk about that,
I'm locked in, I think, up top. But.
Here are the drivers that failed to qualify for today. Mark Thompson, Stanton Barrett, Derek White, Derek Cope, Mike Harmon, who didn't even complete his run, had the tire issue. Mario Gosselin, Harrison Rhodes, and Chris Fontaine will not compete in the season opener later today. So the 12 drivers that advanced, we have inverted them. They will go back to front. That means Ryan Reed will be the first on track, and whoever is quickest here will lead us to the green in our 300-miler later this afternoon.
We see these 12 guys here. I'm not sure there's anybody any happier than that 11 car of Blake Cook. Regardless of where he ends up, he probably will be a little bit happier than the pole sitter.
His story kind of reminds you of our Camping World truck racer Jordan Anderson. Got a new chance with a new team. He was able just to squeak into the field last night, ran in the top 5. Blake Cook knows he's got a chance to get the pole here, but he also has a chance to run up front with his new team. That's got to be the best feeling in the world.
How about that raw emotion of Jordan Anderson when he found out it was official last night during qualifying.
He was officially out. He could do the math. He said, I'm going to beat all these cars. I'm going to miss this race. I got a new team. I got a new owner. Jeff Bowen spent money so I can race. Columbia, South Carolina sponsor me. I'm out. Somebody has a problem. I'm in. I mean, that's the range of emotion these racers are faced with here at Daytona.
And we all know, when you make it here, changes everything for the season ahead.
Oh, it does. You come out of here in a hole. And, you know, we spent so much time and effort to get here. We didn't make the race. Yeah, we're going to go to Atlanta. We're going to do our best. But you never forget the fact that we didn't make that race at Daytona.
2 Roush Fenway cars advancing here to round 2 of qualifying. Bubba Wallace joining Ryan Reed. RCR put all 4 of their cars in round 2. JGR advancing 3 for 3. Talked about Blake Cook. Colleague Racing getting their one on. Team Penske and Junior Motorsports also getting 1 car into our second round. Of course, Team Penske only has 1 here, so they were batting 1,000 in that first round of qualifying as well.
That's a great illustration. That just goes to show you how important it is and what an accomplishment it was for Blake Cook and his guys to get that thing in.
What are we looking at here? I mean, you're obviously going to have to be down well south of the 49-second, in this 49-second bracket, south of the 50-second bracket, if you're going to have a chance to sit on the pole.
Yeah, we feel like, Phil and I talked, that these cars will run faster in this round because of just having heat in the drive line. That should free things up a little bit. These drivers have had a run off pit road. They know exactly how the temperament of their engine is. They can get off pit road better and look for them to run maybe a 10th faster than they did the round before, I think. Let's see how.
Yeah, we'll get an indication. He ran a 50.08. He actually slows down about a 10th and a half to a 50.24 for Ryan Reed.
Phil and I was talking, and felt like they might slow down a little bit this round.
It's going to be a little bit of everything, we think.
Just like you guys predicted. Regardless of what you do here, worst you can start today is 12th. Here's Darrell Wallace Jr.
50.07 in round 1. We talked to Bubba down on pit road. He said he felt like that his shifting wasn't as smooth during round 1 as it could have been. See if he's able to pick up the time, maybe picked up the shifting a little bit.
And that lingering problem that he had with this backup car and that 2-3 shift.
He's only a couple of hundredths ahead right now.
And that's up Ryan Reed.
Of Reed.
So he's tracking right at what Ryan ran, which again is going to be a little bit slower than what Bubba ran in that first round also.
I remember last year in his rookie season in the Xfinity Series, seemed like kind of like this weekend. Fought some Friday problems at various racetracks, but would come back, make a pretty big statement in qualifying that they do have a fast car. We'll see if they can put up a good number here and then ultimately have a chance to compete for the win later today. 50.07 to a 50.26 for Bubba Wallace, puts him right behind his teammate Ryan Reed.
I'm a little surprised at that. All these teams are pretty sophisticated though with their heaters. They spend a lot of money and effort on transmission heaters and rear end heaters. The only thing that they can't really do is warm up the hubs, but they have such thin grease in these hubs nowadays, and they're able to race this stuff that. Probably, obviously not a whole lot of difference.
Well, the temperature outside going up a little bit, does that hurt performance? Could that be a part of the problem? Hasn't changed a great deal, that's for sure. Elliott Sadler's tracking slower as well, but in Phil and I's defense, Adam, we heard Ty Dillon. He thought they would go faster this round. He thought everybody would pick up, and it's just not happening so far.
How about this track later today? When we go racing, mid to late afternoon, sun going to be beating down on this facility. I'd say it's going to be pretty slick and create a little bit of a challenge for these teams. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this is an amazing surface, but now we're a few years into this repave now, so it's becoming having a little character. And I know the guys were talking about how in July they really have their hands full, and if the warmer it is, the slicker it's going to be.
50.06 for Elliott Sadler puts him on top. The only driver from Junior Motorsports to advance to round 2.
That was within 1/100th of a second of what he ran in the first round, so we're getting closer.
We're going to hear a lot of I'm loose, we're loose. It's just going to be slicker today than it's been, and the pack's going to be bigger than it's been, so everything will multiply and make things more and more difficult.
Last night we waited till about 20 to go before we had 3 distinct lines, and we had 3 lines the rest of the way.
I know you want track position. Certainly it's important a lot of places, and it's become really a big deal at Daytona. I'm not sure, though, now that Joey's advanced to round 2 and going to start somewhere in the top 10, it matters much. I got to believe he's going to get right where he needs to be.
He's gotten where he's needed to be nearly in his Cup car, really making some strong moves, advancing throughout the field in every race he's been in.
He does go to the top of the board of those 4 drivers that have been out. 50.005 for Logano.
And that was a tick faster than he ran in the first round. They're coming our way, Mikey.
Yeah, we'll be right at the end.
I think they were listening to you guys and motivated to make sure that you two were right.
I'm sure
I think that was it.
I'm sure that's what it was.
Here's Blake Cook. And you guys said it, but if he just does what he should do here and jump in front of these 4 guys that have gone because he was faster than them in that first round of qualifying, it will ensure he'll start somewhere in the top 8, and he will be ecstatic about that.
He's been ecstatic all winter long.
Yeah. I mean, this team really didn't start putting all the pieces together until December. Now, it helps when you have an affiliation with Richard Childress Racing, but still.
Maybe the key to putting this thing together in a hurry was that call they made over to Richard Childress. Say, we need a little help here. Richard said, I can take care of that for you.
Chris Rice doing a great job leading him. He's the GM/crew chief. Not easy to wear a couple of hats at this level of competition. He's doing it well, and he's led Blake Cook into the top 10 for the season opener on the starting grid. 50.036 seconds.
And you know, Cook has some history with RCR. He was their development driver out west.
Sure was.
He's done a lot of work for this team, and it was only natural for those guys to put that relationship together.
Speaking of RCR drivers from out west, here's a look at Brendan Gaughan. Calls Las Vegas, Nevada his hometown, and we mentioned it earlier. Didn't do a lot of practice yesterday, but he's got a fast race car.
If you get a chance and you see Brendan sign an autograph somewhere, or you can find him in the garage area, do that. You owe it to yourself. He's just full of energy and fun, loves the fact that he gets to race a car, and it's always entertaining when you get to spend a few minutes with Brendan.
He loves a little bit of Georgetown basketball, too.
He was on that team.
Yes, he was.
Football and basketball. Kicker in football.
Yeah, played with Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
On the basketball team.
Taught him everything he knows,
Yes,
basically.
exactly.
Did they practice? They practiced together?
I don't think Allen practiced, did he?
Practice.
It wasn't that important to him.
FS1, you're home for Big East basketball, by the way.
Absolutely. Very nice.
That plug should make the folks down in that trailer somewhere happy, I think, huh? Gaughan goes quickest. First to get under 50 seconds here in our final round of qualifying. 49.864 seconds.
Yeah, half a tenth faster than he ran that first round. It's all making sense now.
It comes together at the end. Austin Dillon.
He's the one to watch, though, because he had that stumble coming off the pit road, so we're not sure how true his opening round speed was.
It's a great thing about this qualifying format. If you make a small mistake and able to overcome it in round 1, then you got a really great chance to redeem yourself in round 2.
Single car qualifying at all the tracks 2 miles or longer in the Xfinity series. So when we go to Atlanta next week, we'll be back to group qualifying.
In 3 rounds.
Right.
Austin ran an 87 that first round, and I think he's tracking better than that. Brendan right now is quick at an 86, and you see Austin has a 10th on Brendan right now as he exits turn 4.
Austin Dillon won the pole for this race a year ago. Got the checkered flag here last summer with crew chief Danny Stockman. Great effort in qualifying. 49.742 seconds for the kid out of Welcome, North Carolina.
That's getting it down there.
What about this good looking hot rod? And this kid will be fun to watch this afternoon.
What a great support of our sport John Menard has been with his Menard's home improvement stores.
Yeah, his son's quite a race car driver too, and he sponsors cars and uses cars and trucks and uses this sport to help people understand that his home improvement stores are a nice place to shop. Got that yellow rookie stripe on the bumper, but if Brandon can help me, I'm going to follow him.
Absolutely.
I don't care what color his bumper is. That was the attitude of all those racers in this event this afternoon.
I was going to ask you, when you're in the draft, do you think twice about a guy that has that yellow sticker?
Not when it's as fast as that kid is.
He's third behind his teammates, Austin Dillon, Brendan Gaughan, and now Brandon Jones, 49.869 seconds for the 19-year-old from Atlanta, Georgia.
Now we're going to have a spell of Joe Gibbs cars here for a while, right?
And they're liable to go 1, 2, 3 when they're all done. And then Ty Dillon will have something to say about that.
Bobby Labonte, 51 years old, out of Corpus Christi, Texas, driving this 18 car in the season opener, part of the celebration of the 25th year anniversary of Joe Gibbs Racing.
It's hard for me to make Bobby 51 years old because I remember him when he was a teenager, before he ever started racing, when he used to race go-karts.
Was the first driver to win an Xfinity and a Sprint Cup championship. Now, a handful of guys obviously have done it since that time, but Bobby was the first to get that done. He had a lot of success in that 18 car over the years.
Oh, sure did. You used to go to Atlanta. You knew you had to, if you were going to have any success at all, you're going to have to beat Bobby Labonte in that 18 car.
And wasn't it 95 when Terry won the championship? You had to beat them both. The Bobby won the 96. Right? Bobby won the championship, or Terry won the championship. Bobby won the race. That's a big day for Bob Labonte and the whole clan there from Corpus Christi.
Bobby 2/100ths of a second faster than Austin Dillon. So the 18 is now atop the scoring pylon. Here's a look at 19-year-old Eric Jones, one of the favorites to win the championship in 2016.
And that's amazing. We know that he was a Truck Series champion last year, and he ran a number of the Xfinity races, most of them, quite honestly, and he won a couple times. But as a 19-year-old, he comes into the series full-time for the first time, and the talk in the garage area, this is our championship favorite. Pretty amazing.
He's a smart kid. He really understands and mature beyond his years. And I think that's a little bit cliched to say a lot of times in sports, but he truly fits the mold of what it takes. And I think everybody kind of agrees he could be a true superstar in the future of NASCAR.
Let's pick let's make our champion picks. I'll take Eric Jones. Your turn, Phil.
That seems fair.
I'm going to take Elliott Sadler.
Ooh, I like that.
Elliott Sadler. That's a good
experience versus youth. You're going with the experience.
Yep.
I'll go Bubba Wallace to get hot at the right time.
Yeah. Again, with this chase format this year, it's wide open.
Eric Jones clocks in third.
I love that. We picked a Ford, a Chevy, and a Toyota. And that tells you what kind of parity there is in NASCAR.
And we didn't rehearse that.
No, we just...
Thanks to you, we didn't rehearse that.
I actually rehearsed my part.
And I'll pick first. Let me pick first, by the way.
No grass growing under our feet before Michael made it known he was going to take Eric Jones.
How about Suarez tracking number 1 here, a half a tenth in the bank. A third of the way through this lap.
Looking really good.
Our pole sitter from July here.
The restrictor plate stuff, not good to him in 2015. He knows he's got a lot to work on, struggled getting onto pit road a couple of times. Love to see this team get out of the gate strong and certainly capable of going out and winning today in the first race of 2016. Looking good right now.
He has almost a tenth of a second in the bank. If Ty Dillon doesn't do everything perfect, we may have Suarez on the pole again.
49.61 for Suarez. So it goes Suarez, Bobby Labonte, Austin Dillon, Eric Jones, Brendan Gaughan, the top 5, and now the kid that's been fast all weekend long, Ty Dillon, trying to claim the pole.
We talked about John Menard and his commitment to the sport. Johnny Morris, Bass Pro, same thing. Same thing, and that logo. I'm not a fisherman, but it makes me want to fish. that works for me.
But there's so much more in that story. You don't have to go fishing. It's close. Look at it.
Really close.
Within a couple hundredths of a second, midway down the backstretch.
And trending in a positive direction, almost now up to a half a tenth. He's gaining on it as he goes to turn 3.
Yeah, even another hundredth of a second there.
Yeah, this is going to be it. He's going to do it.
Been a while since Ty last won his pole. October at Kansas in 2014.
Well, he's got him one here.
By a tenth. just like he did in the opening round. Ty Dillon going to lead him to the green in the season opener. How about a 49.493 seconds?
Almost 182 miles an
Hard
hour.
work pays off. Great job. Great job, Ty.
Way to go, guys. I'm proud of you guys.
Second straight year, Dillon gets the pole at the World Series of Racing for the World Center of Racing for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Last year it was Austin Dillon who claimed the title. This year it is Ty. It's his first pole here at Daytona. Fourth time in his career he's been able to start out front.
Such a great outfit, great drivers, great crew chiefs. And Gil Martin now has come over to be kind of head up this Xfinity program, and that's going to help them as well.
Chevrolet gets the pole. There's 6 of those Chevys in the top 12. 3 Fords, 3 Toyotas, so pretty well split up there.
And look at all the teammates up front that have a chance to work with each other early in this race.
We've got Austin Dillon right now fourth. You think Ty may pick the outside line for the start and have his brother behind him?
Very good thought.
And then they'll have Brendan be right behind Austin. Brendan qualified 6th.
You know, we talk about lap 1 of a 120 lap race. It matters. Every lap matters. Every scenario that you can possibly think of to keep that all-important track position will play into who wins this race today.
Look forward to having Kevin Harvick up here with us to call the action later today. Our coverage begins for race 1 of 2016 in the Xfinity Series at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. Bobby Labonte starts third today, Chris.
He does start third. Bobby Labonte, you excited about that?
Yeah, I really am. I mean, obviously, these guys did a great job. I mean, all of Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas were fast. I mean, you know, so obviously now it's time to race, and we'll see what we got. But what a great starting spot, and they're really excited for Nos and everybody, Joe Gibbs Racing. They work hard. I mean, this is a great Xfinity team, and glad to be a part of it.
Well done. Good luck this afternoon.
He's going to be fun to watch. I'm so happy Bobby Labonte's in this race. We've got everything this afternoon.
Last time he won in the Xfinity Series, Talladega, much like Daytona, driving for Kevin Harvick back in 2007. As Ty rolls in, we'll hear from him shortly. First, we look at the starting lineup for today's Powershares QQQ 300. Suarez, Ty Dillon on the front row.
A lot of it, as you mentioned, about teammates here. We've got some RCR cars up there, and we've got some Gibbs cars up there, some Roush Fenway cars up there, and we've got the lone Penske car up there in the top 12.
That doesn't. He's still going to be probably my favorite this afternoon to win this race, even though we talk about teammates and all the guys that have those other teammates on their side. I think Logano's the favorite, my favorite to win this afternoon.
Anxious to see what Jeb Burton does in that 43. He talked about how quick the turnaround was to get things ready, but a good effort for them in qualifying today.
Some of these guys here just so happy to be in this field. Morgan Shepherd in this field. Bobby Gerhardt. Joe Nemechek, a 2-time winner here.
And you know, at Daytona, if you're in it, you can win it. And if one of these guys, maybe an underdog, pulls into victory lane, not only you get the trophy at Daytona, you could be in the playoffs in 2016. Daniel Suarez, P2, Chris.
Yeah, he started on pole in the July race last summer. Starting on the front row today. Great spot for you.
It was good. And I can't say enough about these guys. Joe Gibbs Racing engines, all these guys that they worked so hard in all the winter. The car is fast. Now it's my turn to do the work in the race. The car is fast. Yesterday we did some rough work. It was pretty good as well, so can't wait. With 1 year under my belt, a few races of super speedway already, I really feel like we can be, you know, a contender for today's race.
Yeah, he's no longer a rookie.
Well, and I think we're going to see later today just how much Daniel Suarez has matured in 1 year's time. Last year, a difficult go of it. Had the accident in when we had group qualifying, and then went out, had issues getting on and off pit road. But I think he's a different driver as we come back to Daytona 1 year later, and certainly seeing signs of that in qualifying. He'll start on the front row with this guy, Ty Dillon.
That's going to be one happy young man right there. I was talking to his guys down in the garage area yesterday, and they said, we've got to pick up our qualifying program. We used to be so good. Seems like we've lost a little bit of speed. Well, they found it here.
And you know, I like that. We see Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson working on single car speed all throughout every practice. If that car's fast enough to qualify on the pole, that helps it when it gets in the draft. I love their strategy.
He got it done, backed it up from practice to qualifying, Jamie.
That hard work paid off. He gets the pole at Daytona. The question is now, how do you think that speed will transfer over to 120 laps around here this afternoon?
I think it'll transfer good. Usually, if you can stay out front in these races, you can avoid some of the mess. So I'm just proud of all our Bass Pro guys. They've been working really hard the last couple of months on this car. This is our goal, is come out and try and race the whole mirror, or run the whole race looking out of the mirror. So we got a good start. So I'm just proud of these guys. We worked every single practice. We worked to get speed out of this car, and it's just good to show that hard work does pay off. So proud of our Bass Pro Chevy guys. Just can't thank them enough. This is their pole. Thanks to all the guys at Shop, ECR. It's a good thing to celebrate that we have speed right out of the gate this year.
And the next goal up, look for his first win here at Daytona. Adam?
Jamie, the stage is set for our first race in 2016 in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. We'll see you 3 p.m. Eastern time here on FS1. It's the Powershares QQQ 300. Kevin Harvick going to join us in the booth.
Yeah, guys, I've had a great time. Thanks for having me.
All right, sounds great. Final practice, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series comes your way noon Eastern time. Right now, though, for a couple of minutes, going to send it to the studio. It's a weekend edition of NASCAR Race Hub. Here's John Roberts in Charlotte.